Rachel, it's great to have you with us today. We thought it'd be nice to start by you telling us about the school, so Five Islands School, and how many children you have and how you organise them coming and going from the islands to the school.
Okay, well, Five Islands Academy is spread actually across, we serve 5 islands, we've got bases on 4 of the islands. So our main base is here on St Mary's. We also have a primary school base on St Agnes, a primary school base that serves Tresco and Briar. Those 2 islands are really very close to each other, and then another primary base that serves St Martin's. So the children on off islands go to school there until they reach the end of year 6, and then they come to school on St Mary's, where they weekly board. So they come to school by boat on a Monday morning and they go home by boat on a Friday afternoon, unless the weather's really bad, when the boatmen tell me that they're going to have to go at a different time. The children who live on St Mary's come to school through primary and secondary, so they come right the way from early years at the age of 3 right the way through to 16. We have on roll at the moment about 260 children. We have 95 in secondary, and then the rest are in primary, spread across the 4 bases as I've sort of outlined.
And then when there's a 6th form, they have to go to the mainland. So can you tell us a little bit about how that works?
Yes, they do. They have to, so for 6th form, our children have to make applications to appropriate providers on the mainland, and they do tend to stick to the southwest. They do tend to go to Cornwall, often around the sort of Truro, Penzance area. So they make applications as usual. They travel for interviews. They then, once they've been made an offer and they've accepted those offers, they then board by half terms. So they will go away for a full half term at a time. They tend to go into colleges that sometimes have accommodation attached to them, or they'll find private lodgings. But I think for 16-year-olds, I think that's actually quite a big step for them to take. So one of our roles is to prepare them for life on the mainland in the best possible way that we can.
And obviously you've moved here from Surrey, so what are the things that have really struck you about teaching in Scilly as opposed to the mainland?
The biggest differences about teaching on the Isles of Scilly compared to the mainland are the fact that our children will take absolutely every opportunity they can to be outdoors. They love the outdoors. They are really proud of the environment that they live in. And so when we have project weeks, which we have 3 project weeks a year, it doesn't matter what the time of year is, they want to learn outside. So we had one in November, we had one in February, and it really doesn't matter whether it's rain or shine, they will want to work outdoors. They really enjoy that. I think an obvious difference is how children get to school, because other than the fact that they get to school by boat, if you're in school on Tresco, even as a 5-year-old child, if you live on Briar and your school is on Tresco, you'll go to school daily by boat, and that has its own challenges across the winter, as you can imagine. But here, actually, what I've really noticed is I've never seen so many school bicycles in one place. They'll come on bicycles, they'll come on scooters, they'll walk. Obviously some of our families will use cars because St Mary's is the largest of all the islands, so they will come by car or by van or by tractor. But a lot of them will come on foot or on bikes or on scooters, and I think that's a really wonderful thing to see. We're going to be taking part in the Sustrans Big Pedal initiative, which a lot of schools take part in. I think we're really hoping that we'll score top of the leaderboard in terms of the percentage of our children and staff that come to school on bicycles or scooters or on foot.
And so since you've moved over here, are you much more aware of the environment as well, like the children?
I think since I've moved here, first of all, I haven't brought a car with me, and that's a conscious decision, so I'm a car-free household. So my bicycle is my main mode of transport, or my legs are, and I think that's made a huge difference to me personally. But I also think environmentally that's been a really good decision that I'm pleased to have made. I also think that you do become an awful lot more aware of things like transportation, because when you buy things from the mainland, you know that they're either coming in on a freight on a freight ship, or they're coming in by aircraft, and that makes you far more conscious of the things that you're buying as a consumer. Salakey Farm, which is here on the Isles of Scilly on St Mary's, they're doing a really good initiative for veg bags. My first veg bag arrived on Tuesday. I'm so excited. Homegrown salad and radishes. And again, I think that what I've noticed is that so many of our sort of local businesses promote local produce where they can. So yes, my Christmas turkey was probably had the lowest carbon emissions or food miles ever, because I think the turkey grew up within about 2 miles of where I live. And I think those sorts of things you become much more conscious of and able to play your part.
Yeah, and that's really set us up well for the challenges that we're exploring in this module, because the social science elements are really about sustainability and how we think about that. And we were hearing how your students have pushed the Isles of Scilly Council to become more sustainable. Can you just give us a little flavour about that, and then we'll explore it more when we have the chance to visit?
So in 2019, students from Five Islands Academy did a number of marches to the local council to express their concern about climate change. And as a result of that, the council declared a state of climate emergency here on the Isles of Scilly. Five Islands Academy also declared a state of climate emergency, as did the other schools in the trust actually, so we're not unique in that. But the council also appointed a councillor specifically for climate change, which I think was a really important move. And I think since then it's not only raised awareness, but it's also giving the opportunity for young people to really take a strong position in educating people about how we look after our environment, but also their ambitions and their aspirations for how we live here on the Isles of Scilly, and the implications of transport and waste and food production. So although I think there's a long way to go, I think that they've really set a clear marker about expectations and the way that we have to work together to enable change to take place.
Yeah. And if you think about your students, what do you imagine they would want to ask our students?
I think our students would want to ask your students about, specifically about university life, because many of them will be aspiring to go to university, or will be something that they will be certainly seriously considering. Because we don't have education on the Isles of Scilly post 16, I think they've got a lot to learn and understand about, first of all, further education, and then higher education and the purpose of that. I think they would also want to know about what the ambitions and aspirations of your students are. You know, if you end up with a qualification in this particular area, what is that likely to lead you on to do? What sort of impact can you make as a young person once you're qualified in this area? What could your job be? How could it impact on your life? How could it impact on your community? So I think those sorts of conversations will be really fruitful.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.